Bolt fam, 4 different storylines are hanging over this team right now, and they can absolutely shape what 2026 looks like. One is a late draft move that could flip field position and finally wake up the return game. One is an interior O-line gamble that turned into a flashing warning light, and it lands right on Justin Herbert, right in the heart of what we want this offense to be. One is a dream name in Baltimore that might actually become available, and if that door cracks even a little, it's going to get crowded fast. And the last one is a new defensive mind stepping in with a message that's already humming through the locker room. That's the whole point today. This isn't about one magic fix. It's about edges, little edges, the stuff that decides games. And that's where Jim Harbaugh lives. So do me a quick favor, hit like, subscribe, and drop your take in the comments. Because I need your honest answer on this. Do you trust the plan? Or are you still waiting on the Chargers to prove they can close? Start where most people don't. We all saw the loud problems in 2025. The offensive line was rough, the run defense bled at the worst times, and the receiving group often felt like it was fighting uphill. But there was a quieter issue that made every Sunday harder than it needed to be: special teams. Because if your offense already has trouble staying on schedule, starting drives backed up feels like you're playing with a weight vest. That's what the Chargers dealt with. Punt returns didn't flip anything. Kick returns didn't give you enough. And defensively, you were giving up chunk plays in the return game. So you're handing them short fields while you keep taking the long way home. That's how games stay tighter than they should. Now here comes a name that's picking up steam. Caden Wetjen out of Iowa. Day 3 type. More specialist than featured weapon. And I can already hear the pushback. Why spend a pick on a returner? Here's the thing. A functional return game is the cheapest way to steal 6 to 10 yards of field position over and over without changing one single part of your offensive system, just by existing. Think about that for a second. Start at the 27 instead of the 18, and your play caller can breathe. Get out to the 35 instead of the 25, and 3rd and long turns into 3rd and manageable. Red zone odds go up. Your aggression level goes up too. Wetjen's return production in college jumps off the page. At Iowa, he was mostly a special teams player in his senior season, and his kick return and punt return averages were flat out wild compared to what the Chargers got in 2025. And at the Shrine Bowl, he flashed a little as a route runner. Nothing that screams future WR1, but enough to say, okay, he's not just a one-trick athlete. And yeah, Darius Davis had health issues. That matters. But even when he was out there, the results weren't steady. So this isn't about disrespecting anybody. It's about competition. It's about raising the floor and quitting the habit of giving away hidden yardage. The warning is simple though. None of it works if the unit doesn't improve around him. A returner can't do it alone. Blocking matters. Emphasis matters. Coaching matters. But if Harbaugh truly believes games are won on the margins, and he does, then special teams can't be treated like a side project anymore. And that rolls right into the fix the basics conversation. Because there's one basic that got expensive, got ugly on film, and now forces a front office decision that can shape the identity of the 2026 offense. Some moves don't sound loud when they happen, and then you feel them for months. That's the interior offensive line right now. When you rewind 2025, it's not just the tackles were hurt. The middle got beat too. And when pressure is coming straight into your lap, it doesn't matter how gifted your quarterback is. Face pressure kills timing, kills mechanics, and it shrinks the deeper parts of your playbook. Mekhi Becton is the name that brings all of this into focus. On paper, it made sense. Size, pedigree, a contract structure that protected the team, a chance at a fresh start. But football isn't played on paper. In real games, it never became stable. Too many lost reps, too many quick dents in the pocket. He never became a true trust point. And this is where Bolt fam splits. One side says, he wasn't the only issue. Get Slater and Joe Alt back and the whole thing looks different. Fair. The other side says, how long are we supposed to wait while Herbert is taking shots through the A-gap? And that's not being dramatic. That's a real franchise-level question. It's not just edge rushers. Those straight-line pressures force quick throws, rushed reads, and a shorter version of this offense. Joe Ortiz built flexibility into the deal. That's not cold, that's smart team building. Nobody's saying cutting Becton is automatic, but it's also impossible to act like it's not on the table. Keeping him means betting on correction, coaching, and context. Moving on means admitting the miss early and fixing it before it becomes what we are. And that identity piece is everything. If the Chargers want to be physical, vertical, aggressive, Harbaugh football, then the interior can't be the soft spot. It has to be the anchor. Because when the inside is shaky, the run game gets stuck in neutral, third downs get longer, and the red zone gets tighter. Here's the part people don't like to say out loud. Teams that correct mistakes early buy themselves options. Options open doors, free agency doors, trade doors, and sometimes the kind of door that feels like a fantasy until another team starts doing painful salary cap math. Which brings us to a scenario that sounds like a dream, but it's built on real logic. And I've got to say it clearly, nothing is confirmed. This is just a situation worth watching. There's talk, there are factors, but nothing is locked in yet. The Chargers' biggest offseason need is crystal clear. Reshape the interior of the offensive line. Not just find a guy, raise the baseline. Because yes, missing Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater matters, but the interior starters deserve heat too. When the middle is weak, the whole offense plays nervous. And that's why Tyler Linderbaum makes people lean forward. If he ever reaches the open market, you're not just signing a center, you're buying stability, communication, protection against blitz looks that wreck third and long, a cleaner platform for Herbert so the offense can actually live in rhythm and access the middle of the field. So why is this even on the radar? Because Baltimore has choices to make. They've already committed money in other spots, and they've got more priorities coming. That's what the cap does. It forces decisions. And sometimes the decision is letting a really good player walk, not because you don't value him, but because you can't fit everything under one roof. Now, here's the debate I want from you. If the chance is there, do you pay top of market money for an elite center? Or do you spread that money across two solid pieces and try to win by volume? Be honest. If Linderbaum is available, you at least step into the bidding. Elite interior protection isn't luxury spending. It's protecting your biggest investment, Justin Herbert. It's turning 3rd and 8 into 3rd and 4. It's turning red zone trips into touchdowns instead of field goals. But there's tension here. You can't swing big and then walk away empty-handed. If you're serious, you need a plan B ready the second the market moves. The Chargers cannot do another offseason where the interior line turns into an improvisation project. And that sets up the next piece because this isn't only about talent. It's about leadership. It's about who's running the defense now, and what that says about the locker room. Chris O'Leary got in front of the media, and it wasn't the scheme talk that hit. It was the tone. When a defensive coordinator speaks for the first time, you're listening for identity. You're listening for what the building believes. O'Leary comes back after a year away, and he didn't walk in promising some flashy overhaul. He talked about relationships, trust, players calling him, staff reaching out. That stuff matters because defense isn't just X's and O's. It's buy-in, it's communication, it's chemistry. And when guys are genuinely excited about who's calling the game, that's not something you can fake. He also didn't pretend leaving Western Michigan was easy. He talked about pouring into that place and how hard it is to walk away from it. That tells you something about the person. This isn't someone bouncing around just to chase a title line on a resume. He values people, and that's how you keep a room together when the season gets heavy. And with Jesse Minter moving on to become a head coach, there was always the risk the defense loses its edge. That group was top tier, aggressive, disciplined, fast. O'Leary's message feels like continuity with his own voice added on top. That's what you want, because the offense is the side staring down the biggest changes. If the defense stays strong, it takes pressure off everything else. But we're not sugarcoating it either. Expectations just got higher. A coordinator taking over a great defense doesn't get a long runway. Any dip becomes a storyline. The real question is whether O'Leary can keep that standard while making the group his. Because it's one thing to be respected, and it's another thing to be tested in December, in a tight game, when the offense stalls and the defense is stuck on the field too long. What gives me hope is the alignment. Harbaugh, Ortiz, and O'Leary sound like they're speaking the same language. Competitiveness, detail, margins, accountability, no empty slogans, structure, purpose. And when a locker room feels that kind of organizational tightness, the response comes faster than any playbook tweak. So when you stack it all together, special teams chasing hidden yardage, the interior line facing a hard correction, a possible elite target in the market, and a defense with leadership and buy-in, the picture starts to sharpen. This isn't one miracle move. It's stacking small edges until they become real wins. And that promise from the start? The most dangerous news today isn't one draft pick or one free agent. It's clarity. Because clarity demands execution. It demands courage. It demands follow-through. So I'll ask you again, does this plan convince you? Or do you still feel like the Chargers need to be even more aggressive? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, and subscribe, because this offseason is going to split the Bolt fam, and I want to hear exactly where you stand.